how you scale ads and how we look at how do we choose the winners, how do we choose the losers, and how do we scale things up, and how do we scale things out as well. So there's many different ways to look at it. But the easiest way to explain it for you to understand is to jump in and look through our existing campaign, so we have some feedback, and pull it apart and show you exactly how we make these decisions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into our webinar campaign that we've been running, and we'll break this down for you guys, and then we can start to look at why, what, how, what if, all those great things. So when we want to look at, we always want to make sure our columns are set up for performance and clicks, so we can get a really nice insight into how things are all performing down here, and get some real insights into what's happening. So apart from that, the other favorite button of yours is going to be this breakdown. So what we want to do is start to look at breakdown, and we want to break through a couple of these, and I'll show you why, and then we can talk about how we look at the scaling aspects of them. But number one we're going to look at is age. So when we look at the breakdowns of these areas, we can see what our overall cost is per conversion up here, and then we want to start to see the different areas where we have some possibilities for optimization and scaling. So looking at this one, start off with, for example, this 35 to 44-year-old bracket, that 9 years, $7.36 is a lot better than $11.55. So if we're looking at scaling up this campaign, or scaling out this campaign, we'd probably be looking at identifying and creating a new ad set purely with that age bracket, because we know it's getting cheaper conversions, better not better overall better click-throughs, but actually better conversions, which is the most important thing. So we start to see in each of these, there's different areas that are performing really, really well. And here, for example, that same bracket is performing not very well. So we want to make sure we alleviate that. And then down here, we've got the younger generation doing much better, $5.80, which will be much cheaper. $11, that's not too bad. And same here, 25 to 34, $3.44. So when we're looking at these, we actually want to start pulling these out. So for us to optimize and scale this campaign, what we would do is set up this 25 to 34 here, these two for IM and Social Gurus. We set those up purely at those age brackets that are converting really well, and the rest we would turn off and we leave off, because we want to scale up the performers and take out the non-performers. And that means that I should be getting cheaper leads. If I get cheaper leads, it means I get more scale and I can go faster and harder with them. So that's the first one we'll look at. We're looking at the age breakdown. The next and one of my other favorites are gender, pulling that out. And so we start to be able to find some patterns and things like that as well. As we break down, we start to see which demographics. So for example here, you remember in the IM Gurus here, was the 25 to 34 was really cheap and female. So if I was targeting that would be my first port of call. And then down here in the Social Gurus, males 25 to 34 is going to be even better again as well. So then we start to go, okay, maybe we have a separate out our males campaign and females campaign, because that's going to bring our lead cost down to that $5.11, which is starting to get really, really nice and interesting. Next, we want to look at, and you can separate these all at the start, it depends on the budget that you have. Really, it's going to affect how well you can separate things out and scale them, because realistically, you need to have at least a couple of dollars, $10 plus against each one before you're starting them. Otherwise, it's not going to really work effectively. You're going to find most of these conversions are going to come from mobile, and we'll get a few from desktop as well. But there's certain demographics that you're seeing. Okay, down here, desktop's converting cheaper than mobile. So we might be going, okay, well, if we want to scale that section of our campaign down here, the Facebook fans, we should be running a purely desktop campaign as well, pulling those out. Here's all mobile, which is pretty accurate normally. Again, down here, desktop. Social Gurus, most of our conversions coming in at $3. So if you remember, I think it was males, 25 to 30, 25 to 30 basically. On desktop is going to get a super cheap conversions. So starting to put all this data together now and understanding it starts to have a really great result. And then even more so breaking down time of day that our conversions come through, so we can start to see the type of people that we're dealing with. So a lot of them, I'm going to guess, are going to come through at night time. So here, we've got leads at $1.60 coming in at 6 p.m., 6 to 7 p.m. We've got 7, 8 in the morning. Some in the middle of the days here, later on, night time. starting to see when these conversions come through, because not only is this good data for you to know, and you can do day parting and things like that utilizing platforms like Smartly, but on top of that, you can go, okay, when should I do my sales calls? I should be doing them after about 6 o'clock, because that's where most of my conversions are coming, which means that's the time that they're free, right? That's the time that they're active and free. So 3 o'clock onwards to about 8 o'clock, we've got them coming through. Most people are active in the evenings, you'll find, and that's the bottom there. So you start to see these patterns in, okay, not only could I day part and go, for example, cut out half the day because we've barely got any, apart from the IM gurus, none have anything before 12 o'clock. So we could have our ads turn on at midday, run till midnight, and then save ourselves a chunk of money and drive those costs down again as well. Same apart from this one, that's 10. Realistically, between midnight and 10 a.m., we don't have much coming through. Anything in these times around that, 5 a.m. That's probably the only one that's had something at that time point, 5 a.m., 7 to 8. Rest all evening. So you see, when you can start to pull these out, this is how we start to look at scalability, which sections that we pull out and things like that as well. So this is where we start to scale things out, and we start to go, okay, now we know which section of things are performing better, which business locations. We've got so many different breakdowns that we can pull. Regions. You start to pull all these data, a lot of New South Wales. So we can see here, ACT, ridiculously cheap, 52 cents for a lead there. Queensland, Victoria. This is New Zealand ad. Hawke's Bay, New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia. So we start to pull out those areas as well, so those geographic regions that we want to run through, and this is where we can scale things out. So then we can duplicate these ad sets, and then we can, okay, we want to run it in, and we can pull the device that are on as well. Start to duplicate out these ad sets.